eternal torture awaited you if you didn't? Would you love a beast?
I would, because God is merciful and forgiving God. Man, they go against God. This is bad. That's why the end of the world, it's close and it's coming.
Like Jim Bakker said.
Oh, I'm telling you, you better have food. What is that guy who said?
Jim Bakker. You gotta have food for when the end of the world comes. Only a few people will be left.
You're going through life and you're doing the best.
We gotta have some food.
Yeah. Well, I agree. That's why I have bottled water right there. I don't drink it. I drank a little bit of it.
And make sure you have some food, dry food.
Yeah.
You know, so you get that chicken. You're not gonna be able to cook.
No, I know. It was freezer won't work.
We are going to Angela in Virginia. Angela?
Hello, Angela.
Hi.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Tracy. Hi, Russell. I love you.
Okay.
And
I love you too.
Wait a minute. What? It is true. I love you and I respect you. Just I'm not atheist, okay? I do love you. But because I'm not atheist, that doesn't mean I don't listen to you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now we clear that out. Okay. Please don't get mad at me, okay? I'm from Greece, okay? Yes. I brought up as a Greek Orthodox. That's very, very powerful thing, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. I just would like to know, you are 1,000% sure there is no God, no such thing. And also, what about all these people who wrote the Revelation, the Apocalypse, who wrote the Mass, who did the church, who built the churches, who did all this, let's say, history, religious history? What are they? Why they did that? And, I mean, what did you believe?
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You go ahead and hit it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to back up to the first thing you said is, are you 100% sure that God exists? And I think that is not a meaningful question to me, because I don't put stock in people saying they're 100% positive of anything. I am very, very convinced that no God exists. I could have my mind changed eventually by evidence, but at the moment, if you listen to the first caller we had, we talked a lot about miracles and the threshold that something needs to completely overtake or overturn a model of the world that you have. So I think it's really, really, really unlikely that a God exists, personally.
Yeah. And I don't think that the fact that people built things demonstrates there's a God.
Yeah, it demonstrates that they believed there was a God.
And that people are good at building really amazing things.
Yes. I'm
and they should give themselves some credit.
Okay. If I don't believe in God, I just feel empty and lost. What did I should believe?
How do you know how you would feel if you don't believe in God? Have you ever not believed in God?
No, not even for a moment.
Then how do you know you would feel empty?
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess you can think that a lot of your identity is wrapped up in the religious beliefs you were raised in, and a lot of your framework for looking at the world is filtered through this God belief you have. And so it might feel to you as if giving up that belief in God would take away a core part of your identity and your worldview. But I can also mention from personal, well, not so much personal experience since I didn't switch. But yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who have given up the belief in God. And, you know, you replace that stuff with something else. And
curiosity about the world around you.
Right. Even something that can be more satisfying and, intellectually enjoyable
and tangible.
Yeah, than believing in God.
Chris Johnson, this might be a good time to plug Chris.
Ooh, Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson is a gentleman who's done a series called, what is it?
A Better Life.
A Better Life, where he talks about joy and meaning in the lives of atheists and interviews atheists and talks to them about what they believe and what they feel and what gives them joy and meaning in their lives. And I think
we're not on public access, so I can say you should look that up and buy the DVD.
Or he's looking for Patreon supporters.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, you'd have to talk to, for every atheist, there is a different explanation for what gives their life joy and meaning, because what gives you joy and what gives you meaning is going to be different than what gives someone else joy and meaning.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Where I come from, I got to tell you something. For 500 years now, Greeks and Turks fighting for this religion, okay?
Okay.
And it's a reality. Honest to goodness, it's a reality. But also I have another question, please, if I may. When you just walk on the street or something happened to you, don't you say, "Oh my God," or something, out of I don't know.
Yes, and sometimes I say far more vulgar things. But
yes.
There's a lot of things that might come out of my mouth when something happens to me.
I sometimes say words that mean intercourse, but I don't literally mean them at that moment.
Okay, you make me laugh. Okay. Okay. So are you saying, what are you saying about, say St. Luke, St. Paul, whatever, the St. Matthew who wrote the Bible, Moses, whatever, all this is bunch of nothing. Where does this come from?
Well, they didn't write the Bible, though. I mean, if you get a Bible that has translator's notes, you'll see that they explain that the authors are not known. So the church later attributed the authorship to these particular people, but they don't really know who wrote the books.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind the Bible, and a lot of it, like there's even apocryphal stuff that was also a candidate for going in the Bible.
Her Bible would be the Eastern Orthodox Bible, which would be different than the Catholic Bible, which would be different than the Protestant Bible.
Right, and a bunch of people got together something like 400 years later, and periodically after that, and would review the stuff that's available and be like, this one doesn't quite fit what we think the message of the Bible is. And so the authors aren't known as clearly as you seem to be thinking. Like even the first book wasn't written until 30 years after Jesus allegedly died.
Right, and that's for the New Testament. The Old Testament's even more, like a hodgepodge of other cultural, religious traditions and things like that.
Yeah, the Old Testament is a huge bunch of oral tradition that eventually got written down by somebody, and weird translations of folk stories. So it's complicated and fascinating to find out the actual history that we do know of who wrote the Bible.
Okay, I understand. I understand, and I mean, I respect what you believe. Okay, it's not like because you're atheist and I believe in atheist, I don't like you and I say, oh my God, oops, sorry. No, I don't hate you. I just respect you, and I just love you. But tell me now, really you say upon evidence Jesus didn't walk in the earth? Who was Jesus?
I try to be really careful about saying that because I think the mainstream view of history is that Jesus existed, but it's also really tenuous.
Well, and also the Jesus that they say existed is not the same Jesus that's portrayed in the Christian Bible.
Exactly. So, the fact that Jesus existed doesn't necessarily mean that he, for instance, walked on water.
Right.
It just means there was a guy, the stories were loosely based on him.
Most of the historians that are just taken seriously in espousing that Jesus walked the earth would say that he was like a reformist rabbi. And I think that's about as much as you're going to get from them.
And then there are people like Richard Carrier and David Fitzgerald, whose work is very interesting, and they think that Jesus didn't exist.
Yeah.
But even they would say, we're going against the grain here by putting that out there.
Yeah, the mainstream view is just that he probably was a person that was a Jew and potentially a rabbi that was reforming the religion in some way.
Right. And to answer your question, but I mean, the short answer to your question, who was Jesus, was he was just some guy from history. And we know, like, we have a handful of facts that are attributed to him, and we're not sure.
And you could ask the same thing of, like, who was Buddha, right? I mean, there's, like, all these traditions about the, who was the person that Buddha was based upon, and there's, like, a few different ideas about that as well. And there's all kinds of strange traditions about Buddha and weird things, miraculous things that he has done. But that's probably, that's not really taken seriously by historians. They tend to think that if there was this person behind this legend, that they were probably far more mundane than the stories.
But also, say Jesus or whoever he was been crucified, he been hanged on the cross.
Yeah,
that's part of the story,
Tracie and I learned one time that Muslims specifically deny that Jesus was crucified. They say he was a real person and a prophet of Allah, but he was never crucified at all. Which isn't to say that I believe Muslims. It just means people have very passionate, specific beliefs about things they have no idea about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if there was a Jesus and if he was crucified or not.
Okay. And I just have questions. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but so Christmas, Easter, Hanukkah, something, whatever. What did you do Christmas? You just...
Well, Russell was raised Jewish.
You have a few months to go before my annual Screw Christmas rant. But many atheists I know very much love Christmas, and that's fine.
Yeah. Russell was raised Jewish.
Yeah, secular Jewish.
Yeah.
And so a lot of atheists find that weird, and I shouldn't say that. But
no, I don't think it's weird. There's also secular Catholics that I've met that don't really have any beliefs, but their whole family is Catholic, and so they just do the thing because that's part of their family and cultural tradition. But for me, I celebrate Christmas just like Dickens. I have the Charles Dickens style Christmas, with all the
figgy pudding.
Yeah, there you go. Cook a goose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I feel I do pray. Okay, I have to say this. Okay, we are friends. We talk. You on the opposite side. Okay, we're both on the opposite side. But so what? I do pray, and when I pray, I feel like I'm connected to God. Okay? And if I don't pray, if I lose the connection, it scares the creep out of me. If I lose the connection with God, with Jesus, with Holy Mary, I mean, So and now I'm saying that and I'm having goosebumps. I don't know why, but I do.
Psychology?
Well, we had a caller, the last caller talked about the fear of hell, and I talked about how when I was, before I became a Christian, I was very afraid of hell because they had taught me to be afraid of hell. And so I was scared of it. They told me that, hey, you're risking hell, and I believed that. And so I had all these fears at the time. I don't have them anymore, but I did, back when I was afraid that all of that was real. And then later, when I believed it was real, I went ahead and got baptized, and I felt like I was safe, from it. And now I just don't believe it anymore, so it doesn't scare me. And I mean, I understand. There's a psychologist named Carl Jung, who was the earliest person that I'm aware of that wrote about the idea that the idea of God is really just the part of our brain or the part of our mind that is like the intuitive aspect that we don't really have conscious awareness of. So that we do have a dialogue that goes on within our own heads where we are in connection with, kind of in a weird way, someone else. It's actually ourselves, but it's a part of ourselves that we don't have conscious awareness of. It's the same part of our brain that kicks out bizarre dreams at night and, puts out, makes us think about things that we didn't think of, where thoughts arise and we're like, where did that come from? There's a lot going on in your brain that you're not consciously controlling or even consciously aware of. And that part of your brain communicates with you, even though you're not always aware of that conversation until those thoughts and impulses become conscious to you. But that can seem, a lot of people think that can seem like somebody kind of influencing you in a way that they're sort of giving you thoughts or giving you ideas or giving you feelings because you don't know where they're actually coming from. So I don't know if this is what you're experiencing when you talk about the connectedness, but it's certainly possible.
Okay, well, you're talking about dreams. Yeah, I have experience. I'm not going to get into it. It's a long story, but someone in my family, older person, got sick, very sick, and I dreamed 3 months before he got sick, and I dreamed about that. What the heck was that? I can still never explain it. I don't understand it, but I guess my brain
well, I have lots of dreams every night. I mean, people.
By the way, this should be the last topic.
People have lots of dreams at night. Like you don't just have one dream. So people have REM. That goes in cycles while they're sleeping, and you have many, many dreams every single night, whether you remember them or not. And when you think about how many things you dream and how many dreams you have and how bizarre some of those connections are, it would be very strange if nothing you dreamed, if something you dreamed didn't ever happen in your waking life, right? If you went your entire life, like 70 years of dozens of dreams a night, and nothing that you dreamed ever was dreamed prior to it occurring, that would be really strange. More strange than things happening.
And dreams that you have that feel prophetic tend to stick out in your mind. If you had dreamed that somebody was going to die and then they lived another 10 years, odds are you'd forget that dream after a while. And so thanks to the magic of confirmation bias, it seems like you're having prophetic dreams at a greater frequency than you actually are. Right. Because all the ridiculous things you imagine are going to happen and don't happen aren't incidents that stay with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, that was for me. It was enjoyable.
Good.
Me too.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it. And please be safe and stay healthy. And
thank you. You too.
Do whatever you do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. I love you.
Thank you.
She really loves us.
That's a great sign-off. I think I'm going to start telling people that. Do whatever you do.
I'm just going to end every phone call with, bye, I love you.
There you go. I think Angelo was quite delightful.
Yes.
Lord of mercy, okay.
They defeated you. They're atheists, they're right. They proved you wrong on everything. You had to roll over.
Did.
You rolled over
It
like
is
a dog.
so much I want to tell them.
You should have told them, but you didn't.
It is so much, but I couldn't because they were... No, I'm not afraid of hell. I just finished the phone call with the Atheist Tracie and Russell. I do respect them. I like they're nice people. But you know what? Okay, folks. To me, if I give up God, my Jesus, and I do believe Jesus, he was a real part of God, and getting okay, I do believe in the church and the Father, the name, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
2 minutes.
I do wear my cross. I'm never gonna change. I do believe what I believe, and I'm never gonna change. But also, I forgot to tell them. I will say, Tracie and Russell, you have nothing to worry about hell because God is merciful and forgiving and philanthropist, generous God, and He's gonna forgive you. And with all everybody's prayers, you're gonna go to heaven. Don't worry about it. But folks, please, giving up God is very distasteful. and lonesome and very, like I say, distasteful, and I'll be lost without
they established you wouldn't know.
There is no feelings, no nothing. Like I said, I believe, and no one and nothing can say my religion. Thank you. Love you all. Love you, Tracie. Love you, Russell. Mwah.